Congratulations, Dr. Lao Collins. It's my pleasure to present you as our speaker.
Now I just have to find my speech. Dean Amu Magaya, thank you for that moving introduction. I was actually impressed when I heard all of it. Oh, it's a pleasure to be here today, in person, no virtual, no Zoom, to join President Marbach, the Board of Trustees, Dr. Janice Warner, Dean Amu Magaya, faculty, family, and friends, and especially the graduating class of 2021. You managed to navigate a year that had no playbook, dominated by the fear and uncertainty of COVID-19 pandemic, civil unrest, racial tension, and political strife. You pushed through it, and here we are to celebrate this momentous occasion. Let's take a deep breath and savor the moment. I'm so deeply moved and humbled by the graciousness of President Marbach and the Georgian Court University Board of Trustees in conferring upon me the honorary degree of public service. It has a special meaning to me, coming from this distinguished institution, whose mission is not just to educate, but to form well-rounded citizens who will carry the university's core values into their workplace, neighborhood, and family, locally, nationally, and globally. Those core values, and I saw them as I was coming into the campus, those core values, respect, integrity, justice, compassion, and service, truly and really resonate with me. To the class of 2021, I want to tell you, I walked in your shoes during my youth in the 60s and 70s. I'm looking around, and some of you may be around the same age. I witnessed another time in American history that was filled with political tension, civil unrest, and racial injustice. Hoboken, my hometown, was a microcosm of the rest of the country. I learned early in my life that sitting on the sidelines was not an option. In fact, it was my duty to get involved and make a difference. My passion for advocacy and social justice was seeded by mostly my Puerto Rican parents, Abraham Lao and Margarita Lao de Ramos, especially my dad, who was a fireball. He had proudly served the Army during the Korean War, learned English, and worked hard to support his family. He refused to be marginalized by virtue of the fact that he was Puerto Rican. This led him to be politically active and create opportunities for Puerto Ricans in Hoboken. It was an uphill battle to gain political traction in a time and place where discrimination against Puerto Ricans was unabashedly open. But my father's leadership inspired others to step into the political arena too. And eventually, we saw a change. Dad taught me to be proud of my roots, that no one can take that pride away, and that perseverance along with strategy will eventually yield change. My father worked in a local school system as a truancy officer. After he died, I learned about the life-changing impact he made on many students. One of them contacted me and said, "Your father saved my life. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him." You see, this young man was being raised by a single mom and was a handful, always getting into trouble at school. My dad, as a truancy officer, got to know him well. This kid wanted to drop out, But somehow, Dad persuaded him to stay in school to get his diploma. He convinced him he would be better off. This kid looked up to my father, who was someone who cared enough to be there for him. It made a big difference in his life. Besides my parents, I also drew strength and inspiration from the Franciscans religious community I grew up around. They witnessed the gospel every day through their works. They taught me that life is inherently social, and how we relate to each other as a society impacts human dignity and our ability to grow as community. They made a difference in my life. They showed me that inaction was not acceptable. They taught me that my duty, and indeed the duty of everyone of good conscience, to expose and address grave injustices like poverty, homelessness, hunger, domestic violence, and systemic racism, it's our duty. I am blessed to lead Catholic Charities, Diocese of Trenton, whose mission is to address those challenges through advocacy, service, and community building. You can make a difference too. Wherever you go and whatever career path you take, I wholeheartedly urge you, as a previous speaker did, to do so. Embrace Georgian University's core values of respect, integrity, justice, compassion, and service, and intentionally live them out. Incorporating those values through our whole society, through economics, education, politics, healthcare, law, and everywhere, is key to protecting the dignity of all humans and ensuring that people will grow in community. It takes all of us to look out for one another. Thank you for your kind attention. Go, Class 2021, congratulations.